My fiancé, male 34, is being inappropriate towards my little stepbrother, male 18, and I think our relationship is over. My stepbrother Tim, male 18, has been part of my family since he was a little boy. I, female 33, am obviously quite a bit older than him, but we have always been very close. Even though we aren't related by blood, he's always been my little brother. I have been with my fiancé Mike for 10 years, so he knows Tim very well, and he has always been very fond of him. They have always spent time together joking and playing around, so that's not weird. I have always thought Mike saw Tim as a little brother. Tim has always been a sweet, bubbly type of kid. He's very friendly and affectionate. He went through a period when he was around 16 when he seemed quite sad and withdrawn. Then when he was 17 he came out as bisexual, and he seemed much more happy and confident once he opened up. Lately he has been back to his usual self. I've noticed he can be quite flirty with certain people, usually my friends. I don't think he means anything by it. It seems like he just finds it fun and enjoys getting some attention. He's a very good-looking boy and people tend to flirt back. I've had to tell off a few of my friends, but there's only been one occasion when someone has been seriously out of line. I had to cut out one of my female friends entirely because she was extremely inappropriate with him from the age of 16 and acted on it when he was barely 17. I'm overprotective of him because of what happened, because I partly blame myself. Tim doesn't direct his flintiness at Mike. However, over the last few months I've noticed Mike tends to involve himself when Tim is having those kind of interactions with someone else. It wasn't blatant enough to say for sure it was intentional, but it was enough that I noticed and started being more watchful. Since then I've noticed other things. Mike can be quite physical with Tim, hugging him, ruffling his hair, tickling him. That wasn't unusual when Tim was younger, but he's 18 now and it seems slightly out of place. Mike has asked him some really personal questions about sex, then acted like he was just kidding around to embarrass Tim when I told him to cut it out. For example, he has asked Tim how he self-pleasures or what he thinks about when he's doing it. To me that's totally inappropriate. Then recently there have been 2 separate occasions when I've noticed Mike browsing Tim's Instagram, which has a lot of photos of him. Then he seemed guilty when he saw I was there. I know it doesn't sound like much, but I was getting such a strange vibe from Mike when he's around Tim and I couldn't ignore it. Then we all spent Christmas Day together. To cut a long story short, we had a huge argument on which led me to believe my suspicions were correct, and we are not currently on speaking terms. I'm staying with family, but they are unaware of the whole story. I'll try not to make this unnecessarily complicated. I didn't have a chance to speak to anyone in my family about my concerns before we all spent Christmas together, and it didn't seem like it would be appropriate timing anyway. Mike and I were due to spend the day at my mom and stepdad's home. My Tim still lives there full-time. We live nearby, so we weren't staying over. My mom mentioned the day before that Tim was inviting a friend whose family doesn't celebrate. That isn't an unusual situation, so I didn't think anything of it. When Mike and I arrived, Tim's friend was already there. They were both very friendly and polite. Then after a while they went to play video games together in the main seating area. It was quite obvious they either liked each other or were already dating. They were awkwardly flirting with each other and holding hands when they thought no one was looking. Everyone, apart from Mike, thought it was cute. Mike was extremely quiet and snappy for more or less the entire time we were there. He was drinking more than usual. I was driving, so I didn't drink at all, and my parents only had a drink or two, so it stood out. He snapped at me when I asked what was wrong, and when I suggested he slow down, it was very uncomfortable. My mom and Tim were both getting anxious. Tim's friend seemed confused. My stepdad was obviously losing patience with Mike's behavior. We ended up leaving right after dinner because I was so uncomfortable, and he was silent the whole journey home. When we got back I asked him what the hell his problem was. I don't remember precisely what was said, so I'm mostly paraphrasing. He said he guessed that he was the only one who noticed what a rude little shite Tim was being, and that he ignored everyone and spent the whole day making out with his friend. He used a very aggressive tone of voice and sarcastic air quotes when he said friend. I told him that was totally untrue, and even if it wasn't, I couldn't understand why he would be so irate about my little brother paying more attention to his friend than him. I asked him why he's been so weird about Tim, but I made absolutely no reference to the specific concerns I've been having. Mike completely lost his temper and said, "Are you saying you think I want to F your little brother?" or something similar. It was a bizarre outburst, and he said some very unpleasant, graphic things which he decided I was accusing him of. This was unprompted by me, and I don't see how he would have jumped straight to that conclusion unless there was an element of truth to it. I don't remember exactly what I said in response. I didn't really challenge him, and I told him he was scaring me. He went to the spare room and slammed the door. I drove back to my parents' place and told them we had a fight. I've been staying there since. I told Mike we need to talk, and he said I agree. But he's barely been in contact and hasn't responded to any of my suggestions of when we could talk. I have no idea what's happening. My family are obviously aware something is wrong, but I haven't fully explained it, and I don't know how. They have noticed it's directed at Tim, but they seem to think it's due to homophobia rather than anything else. Tim is upset and worried. I really don't know how honest I should be with him. I don't even know for sure what Mike's issue is. I've told him he's done nothing wrong and it's Mike's problem. Obviously Mike and I haven't made any decision about our relationship because we've barely spoken. It doesn't look positive. I don't know if I could feel the same about him after how he's behaved. His strange behavior around Tim is also one of several things I've been worried about, and his outburst scared me no matter what caused it. I don't know what the hell to do. I'm open to suggestions. Thanks.